This episode of Housing for Good is brought to you by listeners and supporters just like you. If you believe in creating safe, stable, and affordable housing for everyone, consider supporting the McPherson Housing Coalition. Your donation helps us provide housing solutions, support services, and hope to those who need it the most. To donate, visit our website, McPhersonHousingCoalition.org. All donations are tax deductible. Thank you.
Welcome to Housing for Good, a podcast dedicated to housing topics and issues affecting our communities in McPherson County and beyond. With years of experience and expertise, hosts Chris Goodson and Karolyn Moore discuss housing challenges and opportunities with other experts from a variety of housing fields.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Housing for Good. I'm Karolyn.
And I'm Chris.
So, Chris, our news this week is very, very special.
What is it?
Do you realize this is our first episode of our second year?
Wow, that's
I know,
awesome.
right?
I mean, you think back of all the guests that we've had. We've talked about homelessness with somebody, which is, of course, something we talk about. We've talked about safe families who help families keep their kids in their homes. We've talked about mental health, seniors.
We have had the Humane Society here. We've had law enforcement. Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, if you have, these last about 20 minutes to a half hour. So 52, it'd be like 26 hours. If you have 26 hours that you can just veg out or binge on Housing for Good.
You want them to listen to all our last episodes?
Well, maybe they're just now hearing about us.
Well, this
and they're
is
like,
true.
ooh, what are they talking about?
Yes.
So, yeah.
And you probably are wondering, well, so why are they talking about all these different things when it's called Housing for Good? But, you know, honestly, everything connects back to housing.
Yeah.
For everybody, for have stable families and for people to be able to move forward and to build wealth, employment, all of it is all connected to housing.
Yeah.
So what we do is we bring somebody on and then we tie it back.
Yeah.
So who do we have today, Karolyn?
So today we have Brad Kohlman. Oh. He is with insurance. Brad, you're going to have to introduce yourself. What company are you with?
Yeah. So I'm Brad Kohlman, and I am over at Conrade Insurance Group. We've got two locations. One is in Newton, and the other is in Wichita.
So what is your coverage area?
We have clients in every county in the state of Kansas, and then some clients even outside of the state.
Oh, wow. That's a large coverage. 105 counties.
I know. Listen to you.
Hey, I've learned something while I've been here.
And you grew up in Kansas, so I would hope you would know this.
I don't think I learned it in school.
Really?
If I did, I don't remember. Sorry. Sorry,
like
teachers.
Goodson University. I bring people in here and I teach them stuff. Important things, like how many counties are in a thing or whatever. So, all right. So let's talk about insurance a little bit here. What's the difference between homeowners, renters, and landlord insurance? They're all a little different, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And each of those is going to be very dependent on kind of what you are wanting to cover. So homeowners, obviously, that's going to cover your property, your belongings inside the property as well, and then liability insurance. So if something happens on your property that causes a claim, that's going to be covered there. For renters, they don't own the property, so they can't cover it. So they're going to be covering just their personal items, and if they choose to, they can do some liability insurance as well. And then landlord is kind of the opposite of what renter's insurance is. So they are going to be covering the building, but not the belongings inside.
And is there kind of a standard amount that renters get?
Yeah, so renters can have different amounts depending on what type of contents they have. It's going to be kind of based on what what that personal property inside of their rental is.
Yeah.
So surprising to me that people do not get rental insurance.
Oh, that's a huge thing.
It's not very
inexpensive.
It's so inexpensive.
Yeah.
We've known a couple different people, like just about a month ago, they had a house fire and they pretty much lost everything.
Yeah.
And I said, well, did you have rental insurance? No, we didn't even know that was a thing that we could get, or we didn't understand that. So I think it's important out there, if you're a renter, especially to get renter's insurance.
Yeah, it is. I know right out of college, I had a rental house in a duplex that was the first thing I did was rental insurance. I didn't have a whole lot of stuff because I was a college student and an elementary school teacher at the time. So it was basically just stuff from, Goodwill or Et Cetera Shop or something like that I'd picked up for furniture.
So you went low grade.
Yep. It was not a lot.
But that brings out a good point, because we have been learning that there are more renters than homeowners, and more of our younger population, younger generation, maybe you just come out of college and you've got student loans. They don't want to own a house.
Yeah.
They're scared about that. So they want to rent, but they've also got good jobs.
Yes.
So they've got, we just were at a store over in Wichita. Did you know they have an 85-inch TV?
That's large.
It's crazy big.
Is that like go on your whole wall?
I think it would.
That's your TV wall.
But if you're a renter with a really good job, you might have a wall to hang an 85-inch TV. And believe me, you want insurance that's going to cover it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So what are common gaps in coverage that people don't realize they have until it's too late?
Yeah. So there are several things that when you're, especially a homeowner's policy or a property policy, if you own a business, that you need to look into, or a nonprofit organization like McPherson Housing Coalition. So number one is, in Kansas, checking what your wind hail deductible is. That is a huge, huge part of what your property policy will look like. And there are a couple of things to look for. One is, what is your deductible going to be? Deductibles for wind hail have been kind of all over the place. I think a lot of us that have either owned property in the past are used to kind of a flat rate deductible. So let's say, $5,000. I pay that if I have a wind event and my roof gets taken care of. Yeah. It's changing pretty quickly.
Oh my gosh.
And so now we're looking more towards percentage-based deductibles, and those percentages can be 1% up to 5%. Depending on kind of where you're at. So underwriters will take a look at kind of what patterns have been over the last several years for wind hail events and kind of base it on that. Another thing to look at for wind hail deductible or wind hail is if you are getting an actual cash value for your replacement, or if you're getting a replacement cost. So the difference in that would be, let's say you have a 15-year-old roof, that is going to be less valuable on the actual cash value basis than if you were just getting a brand new roof paid for.
Okay.
So you want to, if you can afford it, and hopefully, you want that replacement cost for your roof and not the actual cash value. That's, the actual cash value is pretty common in the auto insurance.
Yeah.
But not as much on the roof side.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
I know, right? I know this is super important. I mean,
absolutely.
We were contacted one time by somebody going door to door saying, hey, we're seeing people in your neighborhood getting a new roof on.
Yeah.
Have you had your roof checked? Well, we called our insurance agent. We didn't go with the guy coming door to door. And you know what? We qualified to have a new roof put on. And we learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
So, but I think I need to check into this now.
I know this is really good.
I know insurance is changing all over the country because the catastrophic events.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks think on those catastrophic events, you're thinking of kind of the coastal areas, fires in California. You're thinking hurricanes on the East Coast. But there are several billion-dollar claim events that happen here in the Midwest, and they are wind hail events.
Okay.
I mean, when you think of just here in McPherson County, think of all the property here in McPherson County. if a big hailstorm comes through, that is going to be catastrophic and be a multi-million-dollar claim type of event that happens just here in the Midwest. So,
okay, what about flooding? Mm-hmm. We hear about the floodplain. We hear about they won't let you build in the floodplain, or if your house maybe is older like mine. I think that I'm in part of a floodplain, and I have to have special insurance for that.
Yeah, there are locations that have to have kind of federally mandated flood insurance.
Okay.
And, if you have to have it, you have to have it.
Yeah.
And you should make sure that it gets put onto your policy. There are enhancements that you can do to different policies to kind of customize exactly what you're looking for. I know this happened back kind of more in the early to mid 2000s, but there were some increased earthquake activity here in Kansas.
Yeah.
And so
that was crazy.
a thing. Yeah, it was wild.
I'm like, what?
Yeah. So that then became a thing here in Kansas. I'm from
California. That was kind of weird to have that earthquake stuff going on.
So are you seeing people get earthquake insurance?
There are some folks that do.
Yeah.
If you own some older buildings in some areas that maybe were having those type of events happen a little more commonly, more frequently, then that would be something that you need to at least consider because, your common normal policy here in Kansas probably didn't have any of that.
Yeah. The other thing that's happening is sewage back up into your basement.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And that's a special policy, I know. And that just happened here when we had all that rain.
Yeah.
We had 12 inches within, I don't know how many, 24-hour period or something.
Sewer backup
and there were sewer backups. Yeah. So that's like we keep getting this thing in the mail asking us if we want to get it. I'm like, I don't know. But if I had the problem, which sounds disgusting.
Yes, it's not fun.
It's not fun to have to clean up or try to repair.
Yeah.
So that's another one that's not typically covered as well. And the cities are not responsible.
The cities are not responsible. Different cities have kind of different regulations, so you need to look into that. But generally, when you're looking at from where the water meter is to your house, that's kind of your responsibility, and then the other direction is yours. I know there are communities in the area that are now starting to require backflow valves in every new home that's put in, and if you have repairs on your water in those communities, they kind of mandate you get backflow put on that too.
I don't think that's a terrible idea, though. I don't know how expensive that would be. Are they expensive?
So this is something my parents are going through, and so it was an extra $1,000 on the repair. So it's not terrible.
It could save you a lot of money in the long run.
It could save you a lot in the long run. That's
Well, and I'm sitting here thinking, we get insurance because we don't ever want to have to use it.
Yep.
But if you have to use it, you want to have it.
And you want to make sure it's right.
Exactly.
Yes.
And even that earthquake, now I'm thinking, where's the closest?
Please.
My house was built in 1902.
Well, okay.
And I have to get a new basement.
Well, then it'll be good.
I'm getting a little worried here.
Okay, so we talked about understanding housing insurance basics. I think we've covered the basics, but I want to go a little bit into the nonprofits and affordable housing part of this.
Yeah.
And I think you and I've had a lot of conversations about this.
Yep.
This man saved us at McPherson Housing Coalition a ton of money, and not that I'm doing a commercial for their organization. But I mean, it's letting nonprofits know, especially if you own affordable housing, check your policies, check around. What I did was I called other nonprofits in the area and I said, hey, my policy just doubled or tripled. I don't even remember how much. It went up a lot. What do I do? Who are you using? And then he was recommended, and then we made a phone call. Great to work with. Took all of our information, and that was amazing. And for small nonprofits, especially when you're doing affordable housing, this is very, very important. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, but wait a minute, Brad.
Oh, wait.
What is that phone number? Let's just go ahead and put it out there. Their company saved us a lot of money. What is the phone number if somebody's listening to this and they're going, let me get my pen?
Absolutely. So we're over at Conrade Insurance Group, and I have my desk one memorized. Let me pull up what our actual one is.
We always catch people off guard on this part. Have you ever noticed? They're like, just a minute, let me Google this.
Not a problem.
Yeah, it was I'm so happy that we were able to save. I think we ended up with a check back for like $15,000.
Yeah.
And that money is now going to be going back to reserves.
With our emergency shelter, I think the first year we bought it was somewhere around 11 or 12. And then we got this last bill, and it jumped for just those emergency shelters to like 22 to 25,000, and it was like, wait a minute, I have to pay for that out of my grant money, and that's an expense that just went up that I was not planning on, and that took away from what we could give the people at the cottages services. So it was a huge hit. All right, go ahead and give us that number.
Yeah, so Conrade Insurance Group over in Newton, our main office, 316-283 0096.
Perfect.
And you can ask for me. There are a lot of folks there that can help out, kind of depending on the size of the organization. Or if you're just looking for personal lines, we do that as well.
Okay.
But yeah, when we're working with nonprofits, and we work with a lot of them, you have to really get into some of the details. That's important because we understand nonprofits have pretty limited revenue. And what they do is really important and vital to their communities. And we want to make sure that if something happens, the organization can make it through. But more importantly, when nothing is happening, we want the insurance to be affordable so that they can put more of that revenue towards the clients that they're working with. So kind of our first step is to just go through what you currently have and say, oh man, this is looking good. There might be some yellow flags here or red flags here, depending on kind of what is happening. But more importantly is the conversation of what is the strategy here to best use the dollars available in a way that is appropriate for this organization.
Yeah, it was incredible. Just going through that policy, there's a lot of things in there I didn't know about. I'm not an insurance person.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't always have time to be going through all of this. So I think it's important, really important, and you probably would agree that nonprofits need to regularly review and compare their policies.
It needs to be an annual thing with their agency that they're working with. And, with us over at Conrade, we have access to hundreds of carriers that we can go to, and some of them are very specific to wanting to support nonprofit organizations, and so that's who we focus on when we're working with our nonprofit groups. But you're looking at more than just what you would think of for a homeowner's policy. It's not just going to be property and like your general liability, but you're going to have directors and officers insurance, professional services liability, making sure that if you have volunteers, cybersecurity, there's a lot that goes into it.
Well, and I'm sitting here remembering when we got that 12 inches of rain, Brad actually called us to say, hey, are you guys okay?
I know.
Did you have any damage, anything we need to know about? And we had just gotten signed up with you guys. So that meant a lot.
Well, and I think it's important, and I didn't even realize this before, because I feel like we don't always get the customer service and some people that we connect with on a regular basis. And that's the number one thing that I noticed about this company was he's called and checked on us 2 or 3 times every time there's been an event. I know you're not the type of person who's going to hand me the bill in a year and go, oh, by the way, here's your new policy, and oh, by the way, it's doubled. Sorry, I can't help you. But because that did not allow us the time to budget for that or to be able to do anything. And I'm not an insurance agent, so I don't know how it works, but I hope that you can figure that out a little bit before you give us a bill that's going to happen. And that's typically how you work, right?
We'll get a heads up from the carriers that we're working with beforehand. And if a certain carrier says, hey, this is kind of where we're going to be, it's going to be a big increase, we'll go back to market and see if we can find a carrier that has a more of an appetite for the type of risks that an organization has. And Chris, you talked about customer service. That's huge for us too. Each of our accounts has at least 3 people that are assigned to them for customer service. So there's not going to be a time where, when I'm on vacation, that you won't have someone that's right there to be able to take care of you. And we want to be proactive about that. We don't want to be reactive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a great experience for me. So if you're a nonprofit out there and you're looking, you need to really go out there and try to figure out what insurance agency is going to be best for you.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we tend to be loyal, and that's okay for a minute.
Yeah.
But when it starts to affect your bottom line and your ability to serve your clients, then we have a problem.
Yeah. So, Brad, without naming names, can you share a time when insurance really made a difference for somebody dealing with a housing loss, a fire, or unexpected damage?
Yeah, so here in Kansas, again, it's not as often to be a fire, but it's going to be those wind hail events. And so when just me personally going through when, hailstorms go through South Central Kansas, making sure you completely understand exactly what's in your policy. And I remember my wife and I were driving somewhere. We knew there was going to be hail in Heston where we live. I pulled up my policy on my phone to see. I'm like, I need to remember what is our deductible
That's hilarious.
And I was like, okay, we're good. If something happens, that's fine. But I think that's an important thing to have, and it's important to be able to have access to that information and to have, agents that help you walk through and understand what sort of risks are you willing to take when a claim does happen? Because if you're willing to take a bigger risk, then your monthly premium or however you want to pay it is going to be lower. But that's kind of the risk discussion that needs to happen on a regular basis.
So I can tell you when there's hail, my husband goes and parks our cars underneath some parking garage thing.
Absolutely.
Well, you have a garage. Are you not parking in it?
Full coverage insurance too, but if there's a car sitting outside, he's like taking it downtown and saying, "Can you come pick me up?"
Yeah,
sure, honey. Let me help you.
Let me get my car hailed on as I get you, so we can get back.
Yeah.
Well, and then I'm also remembered. You said wind, hail, but a couple of years back down by Hutchinson, they had that wildfire that burned through a large area, and I don't remember how many houses, but it was a significant number.
And that's again, becoming more common right now in Kansas. And so having agents and agencies that, like I said previously, are being proactive about having those discussions on a regular basis is vital.
If they're, house fire, what if it's a wildfire event? Are you still covered?
Most likely, depending on your policy, because a fire in general, is going to be covered. But, it's going to depend on the specifics of your policy and what sort of exclusions and enhancements that you have. And those are all important things to discuss.
And that also brings up in my mind, the California wildfires. They reported on the news that so many of those homeowners had been there for so long that they had let their insurance lapse because of cost, and now they just had a wildfire event and they have no insurance, and it's so sad.
That brings a good point up, is to make sure with the increase of what it costs to rebuild a home today compared to maybe when you originally got your policy, that is really, really vital to make sure that you're keeping up with those prices, because you've got to know, and your agent should be the person that knows, like, what is it going to be to rebuild a house that is, the certain square footage right now. I think, Chris, when we went over all of the properties from McPherson Housing Coalition, I was showing you kind of the price per square foot on each individual unit. And that is an important thing, because you need to make sure you're within a pretty certain range when you're looking at your price per square foot, because that's what it's going to be to, if there's a total loss, what it's going to be to rebuild. And so you need to know that.
So if our listeners are out there right now, what are some of the things they should be doing right now this minute?
So
grabbing that policy.
They go and first have the policy. You would be surprised how many even organizations don't have a physical or digital copy of their policy. They don't know where it is. Step number one, know where your policy is and have a complete one.
I want to remind us of my house.
Pull it up on your phone like Brad does.
Yeah, and it's great. Like, if you've got a carrier that allows you to have an app on your phone to have your policies available.
I love that.
Those are great. Those are great to be able to have.
Yes.
So do that. That's number one.
Number one. Okay.
Number two, have a conversation with your agent. Make sure that you and your agent have that discussion of, are we properly covered for where we are today and the risks that we need to take as an organization or as a family. That is vital. Have a conversation with your agent.
I'm going to say Carrie and I did this, but it's been it's probably been 15 to 20 years ago. And good grief, the price of houses now, we need to have that conversation.
You need to have that
I was thinking that too. I'm all ready to go home and dig around and find my policies. Well, if I wasn't going somewhere this weekend, that's what I'd be doing, digging around trying to figure out where they are.
Just a good reminder, because, what we did 20 years ago with what it would cost to rebuild is probably nowhere near what we need today.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
you
have to, assess where your situation is too. Like, do you have kids now and you didn't then? And do you not have kids now and you did then? And if there is a total loss, are you wanting to rebuild the same size?
Yeah.
A lot of factors. And, a lot of folks, it's going to come down to price, but that shouldn't be the limiting factor when folks are looking at insurance. You need to be able to decide just because something is, cheap doesn't mean that it's going to do what you need. And just because something's expensive doesn't mean that either. You need to get into the details with your agent about what you're looking for, what you want covered, and for how much.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah. So how do we find an agent? We're out there trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Our producer's pointing over there at Brad. I mean, if I'm living we have people listening to our podcast from all over the place. So I don't know if you'd be the person that they would choose. Maybe you would be. They're going to come to Kansas for insurance. But how do you do that? Word of mouth? Is it? We found you through a great referral. You found us through
a referral of a similar organization.
Yes.
That if you have an organization that you're running, that is a great place to start. Is to find that out. We at Conrade Insurance Group, we go out and about to different conferences, and we make sure that our name is out there. We're the preferred vendor for like the Kansas Hospital Association and for Leading Age, which is the nonprofit senior care facility group here in the state. So we're well known in those organizations and the nonprofit space. But find an agent that is going to talk to you, sit down more than just once a year, and find somebody that has a team to help. It's not just like I'm not doing all the work for sure. That was not just a one-man job. We've got a risk placement team. We've got 53 employees at Conrade Insurance Group. So we've got the service team available to put resources into making sure that we're talking with the right people for you to do what's best for your organization.
Well, and I love that word referral. So talk to your neighbors, talk to your family. Who do you have insurance for with this? How do they handle you?
Yeah.
What's been your experience? Yeah. Referrals are huge.
If you've had a claim, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Did they put you on the phone? Did they keep you waiting? Was somebody on vacation so they couldn't help you? I've had that experience with my car recently. Yeah. And I was like, okay, it took a month for me to decide whether they were going to do a payout or they were going to fix the car. Well, I'm an appraiser. I'm on the road every day. I have an extra car, thank goodness, but this wasn't a great experience for me. I'm thinking to myself, is this the carrier that I want to stay with? I need customer. I'm kind of a diva a little bit. I need customer service. You know what I mean?
Well, I think all of us are kind of getting that way right now where, there's that instant gratification that, all of us expect because we have access to all the information on our phones right now. And I think, that you're not wrong that you should expect good customer service.
Yes. Well, and then I think also, was I treated the way I would treat them if they were calling, so it's like pay attention to, those little things.
Absolutely.
Well, this was a great interview, Karolyn.
I know. We say this every time.
I know.
I've learned so much.
I know. We do this podcast for our own personal use so that we know what to do in the world, right? We know everything going on. We know who to work with. We know all those things. So again, tell us before we go, where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can go to ConradeInsuranceGroup.com and actually, it's ConradeInsurance.com, sorry. And you can find us there. We're in downtown Newton. So if you're here in South Central Kansas, stop on by and you can talk to folks there. Yeah, we'd love to talk with you and connect and try to find out how we can best serve individuals or organizations around the state.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Thank you so much for joining us today, Brad. To our listeners, if you would be interested or you know someone who would be interested in being on Housing for Good, or there's a topic that you think we need to talk about, drop us a line, leave us a review, let us know how we're doing. You can do that at housingforgood@mcphersonhc.org. When you're on the different streaming services, be sure that you click the like or follow button.
Yes, you need to like or follow us. That's very important. We want to build those listeners.
And tell everybody you know about us.
Everybody.
Thank you for listening today.
And have a great day.